It's been over 5 weeks since Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body was found in the frunk of David's Tesla, and we still do not have any charges. We still do not have a COD. We are, however, finding out that a 911 call was made by a neighbor of the home that David was staying at in the Hollywood Hills on Sunday, July 20th, 2025, around 4:38 a.m. regarding a quote public nuisance complaint. The neighbor was complaining over loud music being played at the residence that David was staying at. However, when authorities arrived hours later at 8:57 in the morning, the music had stopped, things had settled down, and there was really nothing for them to do. In fact, it was stated that the issue had quote resolved itself. Now, I think that this is interesting, especially when we take what other neighbors have stated, which is that this house was not something that drew anyone's attention to it. It was quiet. There was never any issues with the neighbors. But on this one specific night, there's really loud music playing, and I can't help but wonder if maybe the loud music was playing to mask maybe something else that was going on underneath the music. According to the U.S. Suns, the information that they obtained through the Freedom of Information request indicates that there were no other 911 calls made pertaining to this residence from the time that David moved in February of 2024 to the time that he moved out in September of 2025. Now, when it comes to what other neighbors are saying, a male neighbor in this Hollywood Hills neighborhood said that he didn't know David, but he knew he had a Tesla. It was always parked outside, and he was always with Celeste regularly. He said that as soon as he saw the photo of Celeste on the news, he recognized her as the girl who was always with David outside of this Hollywood Hills home. He said that he would be in his car, they'd acknowledge each other, say hi, but that was about it. He said that he tried to talk to them, but they weren't very engaging and they typically kept to themselves. He did also mention that he had noticed that David had some damage to his Tesla. He had asked him about what had happened to his car, and David said that it was hit and he just never fixed it. Now remember, there was a lot of discussion about some of the damages seen on David's Tesla, and people thought that maybe this was an indication that the vehicle was stolen and or driven by someone who didn't have a license or wasn't an experienced driver. But based on what this neighbor is saying, there is confirmation here that the damage on the Tesla was present prior to David going on tour, and he was aware of the damage on the vehicle. Now, Ladin Trifonovich, the homeowner of this Hollywood Hills home that David was staying in, likely with Celeste, did say that there are multiple surveillance cameras outside of the home, but they were likely not turned on because he likes to give his tenants privacy. So it seems like the footage that could have been picked up at this home, the evidence that could have been obtained from this property, likely can't be obtained after all. This could be another reason for delay here. I just find that so weird. Why do you have cameras outside the property of the residences that you own if they're not going to be on? What do you guys think of all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're following me for more updates. Hopefully we do have some new developments in this case very soon.